We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by the you know the thing.
We will shut you down. We will cite you. And if we need to, we will arrest you and we will take you to jail. Period.
I wasn't thinking of the Bill of Rights when we did this.
But no amendment to the Constitution is absolute.
God actually spoke to me. He spoke about sacredness. He said to me, Kim, what I place in many, many people is sacred. And if anybody touches what is sacred to me, then it is the end for them. So what I've done in the United States of America is sacred. And there are people on every side that are trying to destroy what I deem sacred. And it's not going to happen.
This is the definition of criminal conspiracy, racketeering, and collusion. This is not a theory. This is evidence.
Because I have upheld this country to spread the light to the rest of the world. When you choose to go against the sacred thing that God puts into the very heart and the soil of this nation. This was sacred to God. Now is the time to act. This is exactly why I need some action from my people.
Well, Pastor Jackson, on today's show, we're going to interview a guest. Perhaps you've heard of him. So, ladies and gentlemen, get yourself psychologically prepared and physically prepared for today's guest, Eric Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Eric Trump onto the Thrivetime show.
Look at this. I love this. I love this greeting. Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's good to be on. So Clay, I'm very, very excited. And Pastor, I miss you. I miss going over to the church. Always have a great time together. But we are officially beating Kamala Harris. Not only do we beat her in November, but we are officially beating her with this right here. So Amazon, we just went to #1. And Kamala is #3, and so it's another good day. It's another good Monday in the United States of America.
I love it. Amen to that. Now, I want to ask you guys, I want to address the elephant in the room because, Pastor, you did a sermon on Sunday specifically about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was on the Reawaken America tour at multiple events. Eric, I know was a good friend of yours. Want to get your thoughts here. Many people look to you as a source of wisdom, and we're all struggling with emotions here. What's your reaction to the assassination of Charlie Kirk?
Yeah. Well, I went from visceral anger to sadness, back to probably anger, back to sadness. I think as a lot of this whole thing's transpired, I mean, guys, so many people thought that he was just a guy who really changed the hearts and minds of the youth in this country. He certainly did. He created the greatest youth movement probably in the history of the nation. It was a big aspect of my father getting elected, and loved my father dearly, loved me dearly. I mean, I met Charlie when he was a 21-year-old kid. He came into the Trump organization, and he told me about all the dreams and aspirations he had to change the minds of young voters and to make sure that they weren't getting indoctrinated in schools, and to have a major platform on college campuses, and to take over student bodies, and to be elected in student leadership. And he accomplished all those things in a 10-year period of time. I mean, everything he told me he was going to accomplish, he did. But I told the story yesterday, but there was a old Jamaican guy who came up to me yesterday as I was walking to the studio. I did Fox and Friends yesterday morning, and he goes, sir, I'm so sorry about Charlie Kirk. In very kind of broken English, very sorry about Charlie. He was a good Christian. I am Charlie Kirk. I mean, those were his exact words. I am Charlie Kirk. He was a good Christian, and I go, this guy doesn't fit any of the demographic that anybody's talking about. He wasn't young. Right. I mean, he wasn't even from the United States. And yet Charlie had such a profound impact on his life because, Charlie talked about God, and he talked about faith, and he talked about America. He talked about the American flag. I mean, all the things that you fight for and have fought for beyond anybody I've ever, just about Clay, beyond anybody I've ever met. I mean, what you did with Reawaken and what you and I did and all those events across the country. I mean, you deserve tremendous credit because you helped that movement. What the pastor has done right here, in his church, and not backing down during the times of COVID. Same thing. You were a fighter. The pastor was a fighter. Charlie was a hell of a fighter. He did that for the youth movement. But what's become so clear is he did it for so many others, not just the youth movement, but so many people loved him, and they're disgusted by what happened. we've been called fascists for the last, 8 years, 10 years, yet, not once has any of us gotten in a fight. Yet, a young kid and dressed in all black with his face covered is sitting on top of a roof at a college overlooking free speech with a German-made rifle, taking shots at our leaders, right? I mean, I would think that if there's ever a fascist message, that's what it is. But he's a dear friend. Erica's an amazing woman. His children are cute as hell, and we lost a great man. But let me just kind of end with this. I never thought in 1,000 years they would have ever anticipated the ramifications of something like this being as draconian as they are. When you see that Turning Point has over 30,000 applications for colleges across the country and now around the world, when you see the streets of London lined with well over 1 million people walking across the London Bridge, right? I mean, who would have ever thought that a movement that a kid started 10 years ago that primarily focused on youth in the United States of America and making sure that they weren't indoctrinated is as powerful as it's become, and his tribute is incredibly fitting, and his legacy will go on for years and years and years to come.
Eric, I consider you to be one of America's business leaders. I know Pastor Jackson and many people turn to your church, Sheridan.Church, to learn about the Bible and to what God has to say about current events. What's your reaction to the passing again of Charlie Kirk, sir?
Yeah, America lost a legend, and the body of Christ lost an ambassador to an entire generation. You've got a wife that lost a husband and 2 kids who lost a father, and many of us, we lost a friend. But Charlie Kirk gained his eternal reward, and he heard the words that all of us want to hear: well done, my good and faithful servant. And Charlie's more alive today than any of us actually are. And so we rejoice for him, but obviously we mourn for his family, the Turning Point family. And to Eric's point, I think the enemy overplayed his hand. This has sparked, they're calling it the Charlie Kirk effect. Churches are jam-packed this Sunday. You see his social media presence. He has gained millions and millions of followers in his death. And so, they tried to take his voice out, but all they've done is amplify his voice, not just in America, but around the world. And, it's one of those things you could say Charlie was like the youth pastor to the United States of America. He was guiding so many college-age students and teenagers and even kids younger than that. And so it's one of those things that we have to carry the baton that Charlie has passed off. We got to run our race, not back down in fear or cowardice, but to continue to speak up, stand up, and push the agenda that Charlie was pushing, which was Jesus Christ is Lord and America is a great nation. And so we're going to continue to do that.
Eric, I want to shift gears here a little bit. Your book, Under Siege, the title, Under Siege. I know you and I've had many conversations about the book, and I've had a pleasure to read it again, and before it's been released to the public. Let's kind of go through some of these moments. I mean, your father's assassination attempt. We're talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination. It's terrible. Do you remember what was going through your mind when you and your wife found or saw on TV that there was an assassination attempt actively happening against your father?
Yeah. Well, Clay, if we can, let me back up. I actually named the book Under Siege before Butler even happened. And it's because you and I have talked about it a million times, and I talked about it at all the Reawaken events. In fact, I was living it during the Reawaken events that you and I and all of us and the pastor did all across the country. But, first it was the impeachments, and then it was, the silencing. It was the gag orders. It was stripping our social media voice. It was, trying to take away my father's First Amendment right, trying to take away our First Amendment right. It was going after our company savagely. It was trying to bankrupt our company. It was trying to deplatform our company, as I was having every financial institution in the country for doing nothing wrong strip us of bank accounts. And then it was the Russia hoax, as you remember so well, the Russia. Then it was the multiple impeachments. Then they went after Kavanaugh. Then they took Letitia James and Alvin Bragg and Fani Willis, and they weaponized prosecutors all across the country. I got 112 subpoenas, and I couldn't help but think, under siege. We are literally under siege. And then sure enough, fast forward all of this, they raid Mar-a-Lago, they weaponize the DOJ, they weaponize the FBI. We all know what the media did the entire time. You had, reporters who were getting Pulitzer Prizes for writing about hoax stories. And fast forward, I'm sitting there with my children watching, the rally at Butler, when I hear those gunshots go off, and I know that sound very, very well. And it was by the grace of God that my father didn't die that day. So many powerful things happened that day, which, you have to attribute to having somebody protecting him from above. But I mean, look at the flag that folded up like a perfect angel right above my father's head, that day. Look at the story from Corey's wife, who told me front row when we returned to Butler that all that Corey kept on telling her, before he died that day, was that Donald Trump was going to call him up on stage. He's going to call me up. And the wife said, what are you talking about? He's not going to call you up. You've never met him. He's not going to call you up. No, he's going to call me up on stage. You watch. I'm going to be on the stage with that man in front of the whole country. And then sure enough, fast forward a couple weeks to the RNC, where Corey's firefighter uniform was sitting there with the lights on it, and Corey was literally on that stage with my father. And one of the Secret Service agents on that stage, who I know very, very well, wrote something called the Protector's Prayer. And he talks about, at the very final line of the Protector's Prayer is protect the man to my left and the woman to my right. Well, if you look at him on that stage, who was to the left? One of the other Secret Service, agents, and the woman to his right was the female that was shielding my father in front of the crowd. And somebody was looking down that day. There's no question about it. There's no question that God spared his life. And hey, listen, another half of an inch, and it would have all been over. It just would have been over. It would have been catastrophic. And God wasn't going to let that happen that day.
I was on the phone with you shortly before that assassination attempt, and I just remember you said, got to go. And I didn't know you had to go to deal with an assassination attempt on your father. I just knew you had to go. And that was very uncommon. You've never told me in our conversations on the phone, got to go. And my wife sends me a text, and she said, honey, do you know what's happening? And I said, no. And so James was in my white van, my legendary white van. He's in the white van with me. And he said, what's going on? I said, I can't even talk. I just pulled over, and we just began praying for your father at that time. And, you talk about these events that are very real right now. You've been under siege perpetually, running this Trump organization for since 2016, essentially. So what, 2016, now we're 2025, 9 years you've been running a company while under siege? Am I getting the dates wrong, Eric? I think you've been running the Trump organization for 9 years while under siege.
Yeah, and maybe even a little bit longer. But listen, I never thought our family, Clay, and you know this, we're good, honest people, believe in God, work very hard, never approach any line, have a great organization, have tens of thousands of employees around the world, put our heart and soul into absolutely everything we do. No drugs, no drinking, no nonsense, no laptops from hell. And yet it's really interesting that I got 112 subpoenas, and I mean, out of nowhere, they wanted to take us down. They wanted to break apart our family. They wanted to break apart my father's relationship with Melania. They wanted to break apart my relationship with my siblings. They wanted to divide and conquer us, and they couldn't. They wanted to bankrupt us. They couldn't. They wanted to take the name off of all our assets. They wanted to make sure the Trump name didn't stand on buildings around, New York and around the world. They tried to do that with crooked judges, and guess what? They couldn't. They tried everything they could to throw my father out of office. They laughed at him. They made fun of him. Then they started attacking him. They did everything they could. And then you know what they did when none of that was working? They started silencing him. They put gag orders on him in all the court cases. They took his mugshots. They took him off of Twitter. They took him off of Facebook. They took him off of Instagram. They turned down the dials. You know this. You saw it to me. I mean, how is it in the world that, I become one of the more recognizable people, and yet I didn't grow a single Instagram follower for an 8-year period of time, all the years that my father was in office, out of office, and back. I mean, it didn't make any sense. And literally, I couldn't. And you told me this once. In fact, I remember a text message from you, Clay, saying, I went to search for your name on Instagram, and I couldn't find you. Parody accounts popped up, but I typed in Eric. I typed in ERICTRUM. And it wasn't until I typed in the M did your actual verified account with millions of people pop up. But when I type in ERIC, all of a sudden you had a bunch of Eric Trump parody accounts come up. And so this is what we were up against. This is the war we were up against. And that's what when I started writing Under Siege, I was talking about that. And I said something on Fox News that I got criticized for. I said, you know what, Sean? I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to inflict bodily harm. They've tried everything they could to destroy my family, and they haven't been able to succeed. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to hurt him. And that was about 6 weeks. I said that about 6 weeks before Butler. And sure enough, Butler rolls around. They tried to kill him there. They tried to kill him again at the golf course. And the name Under Siege for my book became even more fitting. And I go into a lot of depth on all of these. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off about Butler. The fact that a guy with, I'm a competitive rifle guy, right? It's what I've done my entire life. The fact that with modern optics, somebody could get on a roof at 130 yards away and take a shot at a former president is beyond me. I'm pissed off about it. I'm pissed off about what happened at the golf course, in Florida, and how that whole thing went down. Clay, I'm upset. I mean, the guy's had to fight for his life every single day. And by the grace of God, that's the only thing that's protected him. And I go into all of those stories. And, my father's shown a lot of grace when he says, listen, I'm satisfied with the answers to the Butler shooter. And it's one time as an adult, I respectfully disagree. I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied. They broke into every January 6th protester's phone, right? Every mom that went through, the Capitol and took a selfie, in the rotunda. They got into all their phones and they destroyed their life, yet we know nothing about the guy that tried to shoot my father from 130 yards away. A guy who was cremated and buried about 15 minutes after he took those shots. Give me a break. I'm not satisfied. This country is not satisfied. We ought to know who the hell these people are. But, I think the media, gave greater airtime for, to Chris Rock, after getting hit by Will Smith than they probably did my father's first assassination attempt, because they wanted to do anything they could to change that narrative, because they realized it didn't help them whatsoever. And so those are the stories I talk about Under Siege. It's raw. It just went to #1 on Amazon, which I'm so proud of. As I said in the intro, we're now ahead of Kamala, and I'm thrilled that we are. And the New York Times is going to do everything they can to hold back the stories, because it's raw, it's unfiltered, it's un-PC, and it talks about exactly who the media, who the government is in this country, and what they'll try and do to destroy a good family who's out there to try and save a nation. And it's been one of the most kind of rewarding endeavors in my life.
Now, Eric, what I'm going to do here, we're going to shift gears. We're going to go into rapid fire. So this is like rapid fire hot seat, Under Siege hot seat edition. So it's 10 questions in 15 minutes. So question number 1, in the book Under Siege, you talk about what it was like to be raised by your father. And I don't want to steal any thunder from the book, but it is a page turner. For anybody out there who's a dad and you want to mentor your kids to grow up to be productive adults, can you give our listeners a little sneak peek about what you talk about in terms of being raised by your father?
Yeah, they didn't put up with games. We were forced to work our asses off. I know probably more about the construction trades than most people who are in contracting, because I grew up running conduit and doing electrical work and concrete work. And at the same time, they forced school into us. They gave us zero free time. If we wanted something, congratulations, go get a job, go earn it. So we were spoiled. We lived in the top of Trump Tower at the same time. I was on construction sites from the age of 11. But he always beat into me, and I've told you this story a bunch of times, no drinking, no drugs, no smoking. Every single morning before going to school, no drinking, no drugs, no smoking. And then half the time he'd say, never trust anyone. Eric, never trust anyone. People are coming to get you. And so, no, listen, my mom was tough as hell. I go into her a lot. I mean, communist Czechoslovakia, tough as hell. I mean, and my father, he expected us to perform. He expected us to be good kids. He expected us to have great manners. And he expected us to work our asses off, and there were no free rides. We wanted a bike. Congratulations, go work for it.
Now, Jackson, I'm going to let you ask the next question here, but I want to insert this question first, and it reminds me of you. But Jackson, from the pulpit, he often talks about how if you want to become successful, you're going to have to carry water. Is it
chop wood, carry water?
Chop wood, carry water. Get the basic. He talks about this from the pulpit. Hey, if you want to be so successful, be willing to do the work. Eric, in your book, you talk a little bit about your father bringing you to the work site, to the workplace on construction sites, I believe, before the age of 14. Could you tell the listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah. Every summer, starting at 11, every single summer, chainsaws, backhoes, sledgehammers in your hand. Tile work, marble work, concrete work. I spent the summer cutting rebar with an acetylene torch. You name it. If you could do it with your hands, I did it. It was the most invaluable lesson. Now, when I have a contractor bid on something and they tell me a job's going to cost 25 grand, And I've done it myself, and I realize it's actually not that hard because, again, you know what goes into it. It gives you a little bit of credibility. And now he brought me to those construction sites. My most valuable lessons were trailing him on construction sites. There's no one better at construction. And, listen, if you're good at something, you're going to be successful at it. If you're not good at it, you're just not going to be successful at it. I've never understood why so many parents shield their kids from the very things that they want their kids to ultimately be good at, thinking that they can just hop into an executive's office one day and run a great organization. That was never, we started at the bottom. I mean, we started at the absolute bottom. I remember there's an old stonemason named Frank. I talk about him a little bit in the book, but if you wore gloves, he would absolutely ridicule you. I mean, there were no gloves. At the end of your thing, he would pour olive oil, like extra virgin olive oil, because olive oil to this guy was like the cure for everything. But like, he and his guys would literally make fun of you and call, Pastor, I couldn't use the words that they would call you, right? Because you're a man of faith. But they would ridicule you if you even thought to wear work gloves because you weren't tough enough, you didn't have enough testosterone, and these guys' hands were just calloused. And those are the guys I grew up working for, and many of those same guys work with us today.
Pastor Jackson.
Yeah, so fast forward to 2015. I know that your father gathered the family, essentially. What was that process like of, because President Trump had kind of teetered with in the past, maybe I'll run, maybe I won't run. But in 2015, how did that process of finally making the decision to jump into running for president, how did that take place?
Never forget, I was at my desk, 25th floor of Trump Tower. When we were fully based in New York. Now I'm based in Florida, but and my phone rings, and it was him. And hey, call the kids. Don, Ivanka, and I worked in a straight line. Our offices were all next to each other at the very end as we had matured into kind of executives in the company. Bring the kids upstairs, and so we went upstairs, and my father called him Melania, and he goes, "Kids, I'm going to do this." We knew exactly what he was talking about. And he goes, and his second, he goes, "I'm going to do this." And he said, "Let's do this." Everything we had ever done, we had done as a family, everything, whether it's real estate, it was the hotels, the golf courses, commercial buildings, residential buildings, but then obviously the apprentice together. And I've told this story at a couple of the Reawaken events with Clay. I mean, he calls me one day, I'm literally heading home, and he goes, "Honey, I need you to go on Megyn Kelly." I'm like, "God, I just want to go home, and I want to just get a meal. I want to get some sleep. I'm exhausted." And I go, "What do you want me to go on Megyn Kelly about?" And he goes, "I need you to defend me. She's going to kill me on immigration tonight. I know it's going to be 15 talking heads against me. I just need somebody to go." And so I go down, and I'm on Megyn Kelly, and they had a bunch of illegal immigrants in all these little boxes, and I'm in the middle, and I said to my father, I go, "Listen, I'm really good at building hotels, really good at the golf game, really good at operations, real estate. I don't know a freaking thing about illegal immigration, right?" But that's what we were working with. I mean, I always, told Clay, like when we got to Iowa, I mean, I didn't know what a caucus was. I mean, you generally know what a caucus is, but you truly don't know the details of showing up and how the caucus system truly works. I mean, we didn't understand how the delegate system worked in this country. We kept on winning all these swing states, and then we were wondering why we weren't actually winning the delegate count because we weren't whining and dining the people. And it was funny, but we did it together as a family. When he said, "Let's do it," we got up there on that stage, the same stage that Charlie was on the other day, where it was simple microphone in crowds of hundreds, if not thousands of people, shouting into a bullhorn, standing on a tractor, and speaking from the heart. And it's the only way that we were able to beat Hillary Clinton, who is one of the great political dynasties in history.
Now, Eric, what I want to do, I'm going to shift gears here again for any of the listeners watching right now. We're going to move into action mode here. So for anybody out there, if you say, "I would like to go to Mar-a-Lago." Now, Jackson, that this just in, they raided Mar-a-Lago. You know about this? This just in. And so some people say, that wasn't cool. I didn't like that. But, so a lot of people out there, we want to kind of stick it to the New York Times. We want Eric to become the #1 best-selling author in America. And we kind of also want to go to Mar-a-Lago and check it out. We've never been there before. So what we're going to do is for anybody right now, if you go to Amazon right now and you buy a copy of Eric Trump's book, Under Siege, My Family's Fight to Save Our Nation. So you go to Amazon right now, you buy a copy of the book, and you just text a screenshot of your proof of purchase to my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. So text my number, 918-851-0102. So again, step one, you go here to Amazon.com, you buy a copy of the book, Under Siege, then you just text a screenshot of your purchase, your proof of purchase. You text my number, 918-851-0102. You have a chance to win a dinner at Mar-a-Lago with Eric Trump and myself, and there's more,
Oh, boy.
You see Nehemiah, Pastor Jackson. Nehemiah was in the Bible, famous character, and he had to build while fighting. Fight while building. And that's kind of what we're like as American business owners today. So Eric Trump and I, we've teamed up together to do a series of business conferences. Our next one's going to be in Anaheim, California. That's going to be December 4th and 5th. And so again, if you buy a copy of the book, one, you're getting a great book. Two, you text a proof of purchase to my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. You have a chance to win dinner with Eric Trump and myself at Mar-a-Lago, and you have a chance to win a backstage pass to the in-person 2-day interactive business growth workshops. And so, Eric, I want to get your thoughts on this. Business, how much has the Trump organization grown approximately since you've taken over running the operations of it, 8-9 years ago?
Yeah, listen, we've had amazing trajectory. We've got the greatest. And by the way, Mar-a-Lago right there, just for your viewers, it's a most exclusive private club in the world. $2 million to get into, just base membership fee. And I promise we're going to make your night absolutely incredible. Clay goes, listen, why don't we do this? Why don't we put it out to all the amazing Reawaken people, all the people who supported us all around the country, all around, at every one of these conferences, who adore your family. We've got to beat the New York Times. The New York Times is going to do everything they can. Even though we're number one on Amazon right now, we just hit number one this morning. New York Times is going to do everything they can to keep you from being number one bestseller. You know that. I know that. You know the games that they're willing to play. But Clay goes, why don't we do a couple of things? First of all, love having dinner with Clay. He's the greatest. Second of all, why don't we bring one of the amazing people that I guarantee you I've been in front of at all these events. Why don't we bring a couple to dinner at Mar-a-Lago? And I said, absolutely, consider it done. So I said, they have to text you, Clay. They can't text me because we'll be getting 1,000 of these. But yeah, go buy a book, text Clay, and we'll set up a dinner. I'll make sure you guys have the absolute time of your life. But listen, we've got one of the great hospitality companies in anywhere in the world, and we've got the greatest assets. We're building projects. Obviously, our bread and butter is the United States, but we've got projects all over, all over Europe, the Middle East. We're international hospitality. We have the best golf course in the world, the best hotels in the world, some of the best commercial and residential buildings in the world, tens of thousands of employees, and it's been amazing. And really, more recently, the crypto space, Clay. I think you know what I'm doing with American Bitcoin, a company I founded. We're doing with World Liberty Financial, which is another company. But we got into the crypto space when we started getting debanked by every financial institution out there. We got into the crypto space, and there's no more dynamic, faster growing space, and it's been unbelievable. It's absolutely been unbelievable. So between one of the biggest portfolio of real estate projects in the world, between obviously everything that I'm doing on the crypto front, writing a book, taking care of 2 beautiful kids, having an amazing wife, Laura, who's absolutely killing it on Fox News and winning every weekend, and about 1,000 other things, we're busy to say the least over on this side of the camera.
Now, I'm going to pull this up again one more time here, Jackson, because I think sometimes I'm a poor communicator, and I need to work on communicating more effectively. So you go to Amazon. That's step one, okay?
Yes.
You buy a copy of the book, Pop Quiz. What book?
Under Siege.
You buy a copy of Under Siege, and then you screenshot a picture of that, and you text my phone number. It's 918-851-0102. And folks, that is my cell phone number. So we'll keep that private between you and me and everybody. And then when you text that to me, you have a chance to win a backstage pass to the actual in-person business workshop. That's a business growth workshop, December 4th and 5th, featuring Eric Trump in Anaheim, California. And you have a chance to win dinner with Eric Trump and myself at Mar-a-Lago. Now, someone says, when does this contest end? Now, Eric, your birthday was hijacked. Okay, so your birthday was hijacked. January 6th is this man's birthday. He now has to switch his birthday because no one wants to talk about his birthday on January 6th anymore. So we're going to run this promotion until November 5th. That's my birthday.
No, Clay. It has to be pre-sale.
This just in. It has to be between October 14th. That's why we're clarifying. So between now and October 14th. Eric, what's it like to have your birthday hijacked, where no one ever talks about your birthday? I mean, are you celebrating on January 5th now, or the 7th, or what's been your move?
All right, can I tell you kind of an interesting, behind the scenes story of the Trump family? So everybody in the Trump family somehow managed to have their birthdays on holidays, or pretty damn close. My father's Flag Day, Don is New Year's Eve, Ivanka is like Halloween Eve, right? And I never had it. I had January 6th, which is Three Kings Day. So, Pastor, that means something to you, but most people wouldn't know what three, especially because it's more of a kind of a European tradition. And so I always used to go around Three Kings Day. I'm on Three Kings Day, and everybody looked at me like I had 12 eyes. And And then sure enough, the insurrection comes. And so now I'm an insurrection baby. So everybody knows January 6th. So I'm finally on my, holiday. But now, guys, joking aside, it's my birthday was definitely hijacked. I'll never forget there being in Washington that day. And I just go up on stage and there was 1 million people who sang me, at first they sang God Bless America. And then you had about 1 million people that sang me happy birthday, and all prompted by the great Laura Trump. And it was, there was a lot of love in that crowd that day, to say the least. And it's obviously, the aftermath of what happened is unthinkable. How many people were savagely, their lives destroyed because they loved America. It's absolutely unthinkable, but it's all part of the siege. January 6th, you better believe, was part of the siege. Let's take an entire FBI, let's weaponize it to go after people who love God, love Make America Great Again, love the American flag, ever searched for the Bible online, ever searched for Trump online, ever stayed at a Trump hotel. They put us under siege. It wasn't just my father. It wasn't just our family. It was an entire movement of people who adored this country and wanted to see the best for this country. And it's a big part of what I wrote about in amazing detail.
Now, folks, let me just clarify this real quick here. So make sure I'm leaving you with some good clarity here. One, you buy a copy of Under Siege on Amazon. That's the step one.
Yep.
Step two, you text a screenshot of that purchase to my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. Three, you have to do that before October 14th. Before October 14th, this just in. It has to be before October 14th. And you have a chance to win a backstage pass to the upcoming business workshop. You have a chance to have dinner with Eric Trump at Mar-a-Lago. And I want to tell you some benefits of buying the book. One, I've read the book. It's incredible. If you're a father out there and you want to learn about mentoring your kids, it's a great book. If you want to learn about American history, it's a great book. If you want to make America great again, it is a great book. It's a book you got to have. Also, Eric, a final question here for you. You are donating a portion of the proceeds to support Charlie Kirk in his continued mission there. Could you tell us about that briefly there, and then we'll let you get back to what you're doing today, sir?
Yeah, well, I was on with Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson was a great friend of Charlie Kirk's, as you know, and you know Benny, and Benny's a very good friend of mine. And, Kash Patel is a very good friend of mine and was a very good friend of Charlie's. I mean, you watch everybody that's up on that stage every single day as they got to the bottom of exactly what happened, and they brought justice to what happened, or are trying to bring justice to what happened. And it's kind of unthinkable, but St. Jude, and I talk a lot about St. Jude in this book, because that's been, fighting pediatric cancer has always been a cornerstone of my life. But Charlie truly was the epitome of being under siege, not only in the movement that he helped create, but obviously in how his life was savagely taken. My book came out 2.5 days before Charlie's assassination. You better believe he would have been the final chapter of this book as just another illustration of what these people will do at any cost to try and win, because it's who they are. It's the not so tolerant left, and we can never let our voices be extinguished. Clay, you stood on that stage as well as anybody I've ever seen stand on a stage. You did Reawaken events all across the country, which you funded out of your back pocket because you believed in America, you believed in a greater country, and you were on that stage every single day. I was on that stage with you every single day, and I was on the Turning Point stage with Charlie all the time, and I was on stages across the country and 3 campaigns. I've stood on thousands of them, and honestly, they don't want us to stand on that stage. That's why they're sending bullets from rooftops. They don't want us to go out there with a bullhorn and have loud, independent thought. When they see these beautiful arenas full of kids and they're cheering, they're celebrating, they're holding American flags, they don't want that. And so they want to silence us. They want to silence our voice. That's why they killed Charlie. That's why they tried to kill my father. That's why they sent 112 subpoenas to me. That's why they wanted me in jail and my father in jail and Don in jail. That's why they made up the hoaxes. They wanted to see us destroyed and gone, with no voice, with no money, with no company, with no political aspirations, gone. And we can't allow that to happen. And so we need to make sure that Turning Point continues. We need to make sure incredible patriots like you continue to spread, sensible speech, pro-American values, pro-religious, pro-constitutional values. And that's why I want to donate the funds to Turning Point. I want to donate, a portion of the funds to Turning Point, because we can't allow anarchy to win. and we can't allow voices to be deleted, and we need to keep Charlie's legacy going.
Eric Trump, thank you so much for joining us. Pastor Jackson, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Eric, have a great day. We really do appreciate you. Everybody go out there and buy that book, Under Siege. It's not too early to buy your Christmas gifts. And if you have a Democrat in your family, buy them a copy as well. Eric Trump, take care.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
See you.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Okay, Aaron Antis, guess who's joining us for the December 4th and 5th, 2025 Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop?
Whoa. Ooh, Santa Claus?
No, we will not be joined by Santa Claus, but we will be joined by Eric Trump, the son of the 45th and now 47th President of these United States. And yes, Amanda Grace will be in the place. And yes, Dr. Stella Manuel will be there, so you know it will go well. Yes, we have Mel K in the house. Pastor Phil and Tammy Hotson-Pillar will be hosting this event at their beautiful church right there in sunny Anaheim, California. Yes, folks, make this a December to remember.
He's fresh.
Make this a December to remember and join us at the 2-day interactive business growth workshops. For over 20 years, folks, I've been hosting business growth workshops where we're going to teach you marketing, sales systems, human resources, accounting, social media marketing, branding, sales training, search engine optimization, accounting, workflow development, financial management, all this and more. How do you get tickets? Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, how do you get tickets? Go to thrivetimeshow.com and request tickets today. And now, Eric Trump, people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. There's not 50 employees. The Trump organization, again, most people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. And while Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of these United States, and this just in from our home office, President Donald J. Trump is now the 47th president of these United States as well.
I'm Ron Burgundy?
He needed someone to run the companies for him. And so the man that runs the Trump organization for Donald J. Trump, as he was the 45th president of the United States and now the 47th president of the United States, is Eric Trump. And so Eric Trump is here to talk about time management, promoting from within, marketing, branding, quality control, sales systems, workflow design, workflow mapping, how to build. I mean, everything that you see, the Trump hotels, the Trump golf courses, all their products, the man who manages billions of dollars of real estate and thousands of employees is here to teach us how to do it.
You are talking about one of the greatest brands on the planet from a business standpoint.
Right.
I mean, who else has been able to create a brand like the Trump brand? I mean, look at it. And this is the man behind the business for the last pretty much since 2015. He's been the man behind it. So you're talking, we're into 9 going into 10 years of him running it, and we get to tap into that knowledge. That's going to be amazing.
Now, think about this for a second.
Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
And it ain't over now.
The lineup continues to grow, and this is how we do our tickets here at the Thrivetime Show. If you want to get a VIP ticket, you can absolutely do it. It's $500 for a VIP ticket. We've always done it that way. Now, if you want to take a general admission ticket, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And the reason why I do that, and the reason why we do that is because we want to make our events affordable for everybody. I grew up without money. I totally understand what it's like to be in a tight spot. So if you want to attend, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. That's how I do it. And it's $500 for a VIP ticket. Now, we only have limited seating here with...
Whoa. There's a lot of togetherness and closeness, camaraderie.
So again, if you want to get tickets for this event, all you have to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. When you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you'll go there, you'll request a ticket, boom. Or if you want to text me, if you want a little bit faster service, you say, I want you to call me right now. Just text my number. It's my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number. We'll keep that private between you, me, everybody. We'll keep that private. And anybody, don't share that with anybody except for everybody. That's my private cell phone number. It's 918-851-0102. 918-851-0102. I know we have a lot of Spanish-speaking people that attend these conferences, and so to be bilingually sensitive, my cell phone number is 918-851-0102. 02.
That is not actually bilingual. That's just saying Juan for a 1. It's not the same thing.
I think you're attacking me. Now, let's talk about this. Now, what kind of stuff will you learn at the Thrivetime Show workshop? So, Aaron, you've been to many of these over the past 7-8 years. So let's talk about it. I'll tee up the thing, and then you tell me what you're going to learn here, okay?
Okay.
You're going to learn marketing and branding. What are we going to learn about marketing and branding?
Oh, yeah. We're going to dive into, so many people say, I got to get my brand known out there, like the Trump brand, right? You want to get that brand out there. It's like, how do I actually make people know what my business is and make it a household name? You're going to learn some intricacies of how you can do that.
You're going to learn sales. So many people struggle to sell something. This just in, your business will go to hell if you can't sell. So we're going to teach you sales. We're going to teach you search engine optimization, how to come up top in the search engine results. We're going to teach you how to manage people. Aaron, you have managed, no exaggeration, hundreds of people throughout your career and thousands of contractors. And most people struggle with managing people. Why does everybody have to learn how to manage people?
Well, because first of all, you either have great people or you have people who suck. And so it can be a challenge. Learning how to work with a large group of people and get everybody pulling in the same direction can be a challenge. But if you have the right systems, you have the right processes, and you're really good at selecting great ones, and we have a process we teach about how to find great people. When you start with the people who have a great attitude, they're teachable, they're driven, all of those things, then, you can get those people all pulling in the same direction.
So we're going to teach you branding, marketing, sales, search engine optimization. We're going to teach you accounting. We're going to teach you personal finance, how to manage your finance. We're going to teach you time management. How do you manage your time? How do you get more done during a typical day? How do you build an organization if you're not organized? How do you do organization? How do you build an org chart? Everything that you need to know to start and grow a business will be taught during this 2-day interactive business workshop. Now, let me tell you how the format is set up here. And again, folks, this is a 2-day interactive 15. Think about this, folks. It's 2 days. Each day it starts at 7 a.m. and it goes until 5 p.m. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. The way we do it is we do a 30-minute teaching session, and then we break for 15 minutes for a question and answer session. So, Aaron, what kind of great stuff happens during that 15-minute question and answer session after every teaching session?
I actually think it's the best part about the workshops, because here's what happens. I've been to lots of these things over the years. I've paid many thousands of dollars to go to them. And you go in there and they talk in vague generalities, and they're constantly upselling you for something, trying to get you to buy this thing or that thing or this program or this membership. And you leave not getting your very specific questions answered about your business or your employees or what you're doing on your marketing. And what's awesome about this is we literally answer every single question that any person asks, and it's very specific to what your business is.
And what we do is we allow you as the attendee to write your questions on the whiteboard. And then we literally, as you mentioned, we answer every single question on the whiteboard. And then we take a 15-minute break to stretch. And this is also your opportunity to meet some of the great speakers like Pastor Dave Scarlett. You could meet Mel Kay. You could meet Amanda Grace. You could meet Dr. Stella Emanuel. You could just grab a coffee. You could find some alone time. You could get lost in the bathroom. You could try to go and get a photo with one of the speakers. You could try to photobomb a photo where someone else is getting a photo with the speakers. You could go attempt to find your phone, wallet, and your keys.
My phone, wallet, keys, yeah, phone, wallet, keys. Whoa.
Now that's a good idea.
Well, it's going to be great. And then you're in the company of hundreds of entrepreneurs. So there's not a lot of people in America today. In fact, there's less than 10 million people today, according to U.S. Debt Clock, that identify as being self-employed. So if you have a country with 350 million people, that means you have less than 3% of our population that's even self-employed. So you only have 3 out of every 100 people in America that are self-employed to begin with. And when Inc. magazine reports that 96% of businesses fail by default, you have a 1 out of 1,000 chance of succeeding in the game of business.
It's tough.
But yet the average client that you and I work with, we can typically double this. And this is no hyperbole. No exaggeration. And I have thousands of testimonials to back this up. We have thousands of testimonials to back it up. But when you work with a home builder, when I work with a business owner, we can typically double the size of the company within 24 months.
Yeah.
Double. And you say double? Yeah, there's businesses that we have tripled. There's businesses we've grown 8x. There's so many examples you can see at thrivetimeshow.com. But again, this is the most interactive, best business workshop on the planet. This is objectively the highest rated and most reviewed business workshop on the planet. Whoa. Add to that, Eric Trump, the man that runs the Trump organization. You say, Clay, I'm not going to get a ticket unless you give me more. Okay, fine. We're going to serve you the same meal both days. True story. We cater in the food, and because
simple,
I keep it simple, I literally bring in the same food both days for lunch.
Who's with me? Let's go! Come on!
It's an incredible Mexican restaurant. That's going to happen. Someone says, I want more. This is not enough.
Give me more.
Okay, I'm not going to mention their names right now because I'm working on it behind the scenes here. But we just continue to add more and more success stories. So if you're out there today and you want to change your life, you want to give yourself an incredible gift, you want a life-changing experience, you want to learn how to start and grow a company, go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go there right now, thrivetimeshow.com. Request a ticket for the 2-day interactive event. Again, the event's going to be on December 4th and 5th in sunny Anaheim, California. Great weather. Make this a December to remember. Eric Trump, the man who leads the Trump organization. It's going to be a blasty blast. There's no upsells. Aaron, I could not be more excited about this event.
I think it is incredible. And there's somebody out there right now, you're watching and you're like, but I already signed up for this incredible other program called Smoke Your Way to Thin. I think that's going to change your life. I promise you, this will be 10 times better than that.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Don't do the Smoke Your Way to Thin conference. That is, I've tried it. Don't do it.
Yeah, chain smoking is not a viable. I mean, it is life changing. It is life changing. If you become a chain smoker, it is life changing.
Not the best weight loss program, though.
Right. Really. So if you're looking to have life changing results in a way that won't cause you to have a stoma, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's Aaron Antis. I'm Clay Clark, and reminding you and inviting you to come out to the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show workshop in beautiful Anaheim, California.
I'm Kay Dixon. I'm from Sarasota, Florida.
I'm Vince Suzuki, also from Sarasota, Florida.
He dragged me here.
Yep, was here in 2018, and it changed my business, and I built another business, and now I'm here to do it again with this business. So.
Yeah, I'm a brand strategist, and it's been really easy to go to a lot of events like this and just leave really in your head like what to do next. And already there's the strategic, step-by-step, real-life implementation that we can do to our business. And I'm so grateful to be here and very excited that Eric Trump is here, and that is going to be epic.
Hi, my name is Erica, and it has been amazing being here. The conference, I'm learning so much. Everything is perfect for me.
But that Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him, character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart, and I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good, and then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. But I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
Oh, he is. He is. Yeah. And it's for the folks that aren't familiar with you, and probably few and far between, I first came across you, gosh, probably 15 years ago, or maybe even